Welcome back to Let's Talk Sports. I'm CJ Tolley, and lots to talk about here in the MLB with some of the biggest storylines going on right now. Let's talk about it. I want to start today's video by talking about the Philadelphia Phillies, and this is a team, obviously my hometown team, that has been having a weird season thus far. Now, you look at the offseason and no big moves are really made. You bring back Kyle Schwarber, you bring back JT Realmuto, you give some extensions to Christopher Sanchez and Jesus Luzardo, but the only real additions you add are Adolis Garcia and Brad Keller. Now, Adolis Garcia has been a great piece thus far. He's been one of the lead batters here for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he's gotten the pop going as well, which is something we've wanted to see from Adolis Garcia for the past few years. But looking at the rest of this lineup, they're having a hard time getting it going, and especially some of the biggest names on this team. Bryce Harper hitting just .222, and the team is 6-6 right now after a rough road stretch where they couldn't sweep the Rockies, and they lose 2 of 3 to the Giants, including those last 2 games of that Giants series being shut out there, 6-0 and 5-0. We'll get to that in just a bit, but looking at this rotation and this lineup, how can they make some changes? Well, the 2 leading average hitters right now on this team are Justin Crawford and Brandon Marsh. Justin Crawford hitting over 300 and Brandon Marsh at 275. Now, these are 2 lefties on the team, and you know Rob Thompson does not like to really give the starts to lefties against lefties, so we'll see how much production these 2 can really give to the team going forward. But again, at the bottom of the lineup, those being your 2 top averages on the team, very interesting and something to keep an eye on, when the biggest power on this team in Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Kyle Schwarber just have not been able to get it going. In my opinion, though, the biggest difference maker for this Phillies lineup has been those middle pieces. It's been Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott. And these are 2 players that the Phillies have looked to develop over the past few years. We had that fluky all-star bid there by Alec Bohm, but these are 2 guys that aren't necessarily doing what they are meant to be doing on this team. Bryson Stott, I do think a lot of it was coming down to them trying to change his swing, give him more power. He is definitely more of an average contact hitter, and he was doing that at the leadoff spot. And you also saw him doing it a little bit at the bottom of the lineup as well. But Bryson Stott this season just not having a great year, hitting just 167, and he's not really getting on base with that either. He's become more of a platoon player, as we've seen Edmundo Sosa get a lot more of these starts, especially against left-handed pitching. Going over to Alec Bohm, though, he is built for speed and power, and we have not seen either of those here with Alec Bohm in his time with the Phillies. You're looking to see a good 30 home runs out of Alec Bohm, and we're just not getting that production. Also around the base paths, he is very slow. It takes him a long time to get a double or leg out a triple or even just go from first to third on a single by somebody else. So we're not really seeing any kind of ability here by Alec Bohm, and for him to be in there at the 4 spot and really just not give you any power, that's something that's raising my eyebrows here. Just 1 home run, 8 RBIs, and a 186 average. You cannot be having that out of your 4-hole hitter, and I know there's been a lot of trade rumors around Alec Bohm, but will the Phillies ever pull the trigger and get rid of him, dump that contract, maybe bring up an Aidan Miller? That's something we could see happen possibly this season, if not next season, just to try to change things up here and get some new perspective for what this Phillies infield can be. Going forward, though, I mentioned Bryce Harper and how his struggles have been just not elite. His play has just not been elite. Now, this is something we saw Dave Dombrowski come out and talk about earlier this offseason, where he's just no longer elite. I've made plenty of videos about this. And yes, I still think Bryce Harper is a decent player. He's a great player. I guess I'll put it at that. But he's no longer that guy that's going to make the difference on a team. He's kind of just becoming that average player. And you need to see a little bit more than that for Bryce Harper if you want to see this team make a real push. We saw him do so in 2022. He had the All-Star bid as well, or the MVP bid. We just need to see more out of Bryce Harper if this team's going to take that next jump. Moving over to this rotation, though, it's a lot of the same old stories here. Aaron Nola lets up home runs. He's already let up 3 this season. And it's just something we've seen with Aaron Nola throughout his time here in Philly. You're just not getting that elite all-star pitching of Aaron Nola. You're not getting that Cy Young caliber pitching out of Aaron Nola any longer, and it's starting to really hurt this rotation as he was your ace for so many years. Now Taijuan Walker, he is just stepping in now, obviously, with Zach Wheeler being out with his injury, but when you look at Taijuan Walker, it's pretty much just a scheduled loss at this point, and I've wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt for the longest time, but he's just a scheduled a loss here. He has a 9 ERA already this season. It's just not looking great for Taijuan. And Andrew Painter. Everybody knows my gripe with Andrew Painter. I would love to see the kid prosper, but after covering him last year while he was down in Lehigh Valley, you look at what he's been able to do, and in 5 innings of pitching, he was letting up 4, 5, 6 runs per game. He had a great first start here with the Phillies, but then you saw what he did in his last start. 4 innings, 4 earned runs with just 1 strikeout. And that's my hesitation here with Andrew Painter, is that this could be something that we see going forward with a young kid. And it kind of scares me because the Phillies have been holding on to him for so long. They could have traded him last year for Steven Kwan, and they have so much belief in Andrew Painter that if he's not able to be the pitcher that they thought he would be, if he's not going to be a future ace, I think they might have missed the boat here with getting rid of him and bringing in some real talent that could help this outfield and help this lineup in a Steven Kwan. I would still love to see a move like that be made this year for the Phillies. Moving on, though, outside of the Phillies, I want to talk about the Detroit Tigers. This is another team that's been really slumping of late. 5 straight losses, including 4 straight to the Twins as they head into their weekend series here. Now, the biggest piece here for this team thus far has been Colt Keith. We've seen the average go up at 350 right now, 6 doubles, 3 RBIs, and an 895 OPS. Colt Keith definitely getting it done for this team. You also see the young kid, Kevin McGonigal. He's been playing well for this team as well. A 286 average, 7 RBIs, and a 793 OPS. Love to see that from the rookie. Everybody knew he was going to be a big piece for this Tigers team to get them over that hump. But when you're not seeing the production from the stars on this team, McGonigal's not really becoming an attributing piece. He is becoming the piece, and you need some of these bigger stars to step up and really be able to help him in this lineup. Dylan Dingler, that's a name. He's having himself a solid season, leading the team with 8 RBIs as well. But you look at some of the biggest stars on this team, like I just said. Riley Green, he's hitting just 200. Carpenter hitting just 184. And Spencer Torkelson hitting just 184 as well. So these guys just not really being able to put up the numbers that, like I said, Kevin McGonigal will be able to attribute to is hurting this lineup because you're not having your biggest stars get on base. They're not getting the RBI numbers, and they're not hitting for average, which is seriously going to decimate this Tigers lineup. You can now look over here at this rotation, and it's kind of been the same story as this lineup. Now, you're having Tarik Skubal this year, 1-2 with a 2.55 ERA. That's not horrible for him whatsoever. Jack Flaherty, though, 0-1 with a 5.14 ERA, and he has 11 walks this season with just 14 strikeouts. Those are not the kind of numbers you want to see out of one of your stars on this team. Casey Mize, he's 0-1 with a 5.23 ERA with 13 strikeouts. And Framber Valdez, one of the biggest additions you added this offseason to help out this rotation, 1-1 with a 4.76 ERA, 12 strikeouts with 9 earned runs. So great addition. You knew you were kind of going in with question marks around Framber Valdez with how things ended with the Astros, but not the start you wanted to see. You also see Justin Verlander go down injured. Not that he was really adding much to this team. He didn't do too much for the Giants last year, but the issues going on right now with the Tigers are definitely something to keep an eye on because if the lineup's not going to be able to get going and you're starting to see the issues go on here with the rotation, the Tigers might be a question mark there in the Central, and you have some other teams starting to make a run for it, so I would keep an eye there on the Tigers. Now I want to go back to the Giants. I talked about their series with the Phillies, and the Giants were one of my sleeper teams to make the playoffs this year. I thought they had some real potential. I love some of the additions they made. They bring in head coach Tony Vitello over from Tennessee, and he was obviously going to be an experiment. I don't think there was any question around that. And it hasn't really played out well for them. You look at the way that he even talks in his press conferences, he does not sound confident, and it doesn't really seem like they have answers for this Giants team. Now, in the opposition of what I said with the Phillies, how they've lost 2 straight in really bad fashion, the Giants have won those 2 games in great fashion, shutting out the Phillies, winning 5-0 and 6-0. So maybe things are starting to get going here for the Giants. They're in last place in their division. The Rockies are even playing better right now. So there's still time for this Giants team to get it together. It just doesn't seem like they're able to fit all of these pieces together. You brought in Luis Arias this offseason, and I think he has been one of the better additions than anyone in baseball right now. I thought he was crazy that he was even on the free agency market as long as he was. He's hitting 320 this year with 6 RBIs, just 4 strikeouts, as you would expect from Luis Arias. He's such a contact hitter. Having him at the top of that lineup is, of course, going to help any team. Look at Matt Chapman. He's having a bit of a resurgence this year as well, hitting over 300. And we see him with 7 RBIs and an 812 OPS. Matt Chapman's somebody who hasn't really had that opportunity or really been that guy there for the Giants. So this year, starting to step it up for him. Willie Adames. Some of these older players are really the ones making the difference. A 260 average, 7 doubles already on the season for him. And then Rafael Devers. Strikeout numbers are still there, 15 strikeouts on the season, but 2 home runs. We're starting to see that power come back for Rafael Devers. This team has the ability to get it done. They have some players that are also not playing that great. You look at somebody like a Heliot Ramos, I believe he has 18 strikeouts on the season already. Just some of these guys need to get going. Harrison Bader at the bottom of the lineup could be that spark plug. If you could put all these pieces together, the veterans, the young players, you have Jung Hoo Lee as well in there, and Harrison Bader being that spark plug, they have potential to get something done. It's just putting the pieces together. Can the young coach and Tony Vitello get it done? Those are the big question marks right now around this Giants team. Finally, I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates, as winning baseball is back in the Steel City, and we're seeing a complete turnaround for this team. 7-3 in their last 10 games to bring them in 7-5 on the season, and we're seeing great play out of everybody on this team right now. You look at Ryan O'Hearn, who they brought in the offseason. He's had 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, and he's hitting 350 with a 1.0 OPS. That's a big signing for the Pirates. He comes over here, and the Pirates haven't been spending money, but they bring in a free agent with the power to get it done, and that's Ryan O'Hearn, and he's playing very well to start this season. You look at somebody like Nick Gonzalez, who I was very high on last year for this Pirates team. He has 7 RBIs and a 293 average. O'Neal Cruz has definitely flipped the page from what he did to start the season and the awful plays and the awful strikeout. He has now turned things around to have 4 home runs and 12 RBIs with a 292 average and a 916 OPS. things are starting to turn around for this Pirates team. The biggest momentum shift here possibly for this team has been the call-up of Connor Griffin. Pirates fans were very excited for this kid to come up, one of the biggest prospects in baseball, and we finally started to see him get going. Now, we know that there's going to be some ups and downs for him. We saw it in spring training where, he had a really good start, but I believe he went 7 for 41 in spring training. He can get the RBI numbers, he can get the power, but the consistency just isn't there thus far for him. Now, so far in the MLB, we see him with a 167 average and 4 RBIs. He does have his hit now in the league, so we can see the progression starting there for him. Obviously, a young player, 19 years old. You can't expect the world from him, but somebody that's definitely going to be able to shift the momentum for this organization. They signed him to a 9-year, $140 million contract before even playing a day in the MLB, so that is something really exciting for the Pirates, especially for this organization. Paul Skeens is starting to turn things around as well, now 2-1 after his abysmal start against the Mets to start the season. You're seeing Ashcraft, he's 1-0 on this, or 1-1 on the season. You see somebody like a Keller, 1-0 on the season, and Bubba Chandler 0-1. Not the best start for him, but again, the Pirates offense wasn't really getting going. So we're starting to see this production out of the Pirates. I'm really excited about this team. I would love to see winning baseball in Pittsburgh. Going to be at the game this upcoming weekend. So excited to see them live. And I would love to see winning baseball in Pittsburgh. Like I said, it's such a beautiful stadium. The energy is definitely there if the team could give them something to root for. So that's the Pittsburgh Pirates. Before I get out of here, I'm going to give you guys this every week on my episodes, the standout star. And this week's is going to be Owen Casey. 2 home runs, 12 RBIs, a 324 average, and a 1. OPS. He has been a difference maker here in Miami, as Miami is looking like a possible contending team. Now, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. They're definitely going to fall back in the standings if things start to level out. But there's a lot of talent on this Miami team. Owen Casey coming over this season has been a big piece of that in the Edward Cabrera trade, bringing him over from the Cubs. So love to see Owen Casey get it going. I would love to see this Miami team be competitive. It'd be good for baseball. That stadium never has fans in it, but that's everything going on in baseball right now as we head into the weekend series. I'll be back Monday with an episode to break down the weekend series, but let me know what you guys think. What did I miss, and what are the biggest storylines going on in the MLB right now? Feel free to check me out on TikTok and Instagram for daily content at Let's Talk Sports. I'll catch you guys next time.